Welcome to the Mauser Mike channel. If someone were to hand me a fistful of grant money to tackle a research project, I believe that I'd head to Belgium and attempt to write a biography on one of the top 5 gun designers of the 20th century, and he's often overlooked, Dieudonné Save, as there doesn't seem to be much out there on the man himself. Save was the man who turned Browning's early prototype into the high power and most famously developed the FAL. Today I'm going to talk about his work between the two more famous firearms and the precursor to the FAL, the FN-49, as well as my own Venezuelan contract FN-49. Dieudonné Save started with Fabrique Nationale in 1906 and took over as chief arms designer in 1926 after John Moses Browning's death. After finishing up and likely doing the lion's share of the work on the high power, he began work on a self-loading rifle in the mid-1930s. His first rifles were recoil operated, but he started moving to gas operation by 1936. By 1937, he had a prototype with a tilt-locking bolt and a gas-operated piston system. This new rifle with a 5-round magazine was almost ready for series production by early 1939, but the German invasion of Poland caused FN to switch to mass production of bolt-action rifles and machine guns. Belgium itself was overrun in May 1940, and Save and his team were able to escape to Great Britain via Vichy France and Portugal. Here they worked with the Royal Ordnance Corps Small Arms Design Unit and put the finishing touches on the gun using 7.92 by 57mm Mauser ammo. The rimmed .303 British did not feed well for self-loading rifles, and the British were already producing 8mm Mauser ammo for the base of tank machine guns. This became the SLEM or EXP-1. An order was placed for the trials in 8mm Mauser with plans to produce it in .30-06, but a couple things doomed it for British service. The trials rifle showed there was still work to be done on the gas regulator to moderate pressure, and the end of the war was soon upon Great Britain, and they were already starting to cut back. Save was already back in Belgium in 1946, and FN still thought they could sell the rifle. Save finally received some Belgian patents in 1946 and a U.S. patent later in 1950. The new rifle was ready for full-scale production by 1948 and adopted by the Belgian Army in .30-06 as the ABL SAFN-49 in 1949. ABL is basically a combination of the French and Flemish acronyms for the Belgian Army, and SAFN was Save Automatique Fabrique Nationale 1949. As for selling it outside Belgium, the late 1940s made it difficult to find new customers for our new rifle. The Eastern Bloc nations were forced to use Soviet-designed weapons, and most of the Western nations were 1. Cash-strapped, and 2. awash in surplus as well as American aid. Why buy a new rifle when the United States is supplying you with hundreds of thousands of Garands and M1 carbines? You might remember this being a factor in it taking a while for the French to finally produce massive quantities of the Mauser semi-auto rifles. FN started to look for non-aligned nations looking to dump 19th century technology without the ideological strings attached that came with free aid. Venezuela adopted the FN-49 in 1950 and ordered roughly 8,000 in 7x57mm Mauser. These had 10-round fixed magazines. Argentina ordered 5,500 for the Argentine Navy in 7.65x54, originally with fixed magazines, but upgraded in 1962 to 20-round detachable magazines. Egypt purchased nearly 38,000 chambered in 7.92x57mm Mauser under King Farouk. These were very similar to the EXP-1 developed in Britain, and several nations, along with Brazil, ordered the FN-49 in .30-06, which when you throw in the ones with the Belgian Army, over 125,000 were produced in this caliber. The rifle served the Belgians well in the Korean War, as well as being sturdy in the service of Egypt in the 1950s. One problem with early FN-49s were the one-piece firing pins breaking or bending, with the forward end of the pin becoming lodged inside the bolt with the pin protruding from the face, causing an out-of-battery slam fire. This is definitely a risk with the Venezuelans since they were early contract rifles. This was fixed with a 2-piece pin system in later contract rifles. As for my rifle, I had some violent cycling and extraction issues, and you can see from my shooting footage I had several malfunctions. I was using commercial hunting ammo as this was all I could find locally, and after doing some digging on the forums, it had been suggested that you either hand load or use milsurp ammo when firing the 7x57mm versions of these rifles. The powder in most 7mm Mauser hunting ammo burns too slowly for most gas guns, and this is what causes the issues I've been seeing. If you notice on the rims of the cases, there was definitely some force put on them. I did not try Mauser ammo, as this was going for $1.30 a round on the broker of guns, so I passed on purchasing that ammo just for some malfunction-free shooting footage when I have other ammo needs at the moment. These are getting harder to find on the surplus market today, and mostly you either run across the Belgian in 30-06, Egyptian in 8mm Mauser, or the Venezuelan in 7mm Mauser. Mine is a Venezuelan contract, and this is noticeable by a few things: the caliber, the cool muzzle brake, the corrugation on the metal buttstock plate, and this was never converted away from the fixed 10-round box magazine. I would love to find one in 30-06 one day and compare it to the Garand. Please be aware where your elected officials and the groups that claim to represent you stand on the Constitution. Please join the GOA, the biggest no-compromise 2A organization out there, and get 25% off your membership with my link in the description. And no, I do not get a kickback. If you like my content, please comment, share, like, and subscribe. Also check out my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and who I support on Patreon. Thank you for watching, and as always, have a great day.